Howdy folks, and today we're looking at a second part of the video of how to paint Eldar quickly. So, in the first video we looked at the fact that we can paint an army to a really good standard in about 2 days. And then to actually add all the details, I've sort of taken my time on this. I didn't really think it was necessary to rush it at that point, but all in all, without me rushing it, I think it took me about 5 days to do, just slowly taking my time with it. So in this particular instance, we're going over the golden parts that we've done in Retributor armor. We're going over with Reikland Flesh Shade, and that's basically to give to give those parts more depth to them. This other bit that we are doing, we're using Seraphim Sepia, and that goes really well with yellow. And what we're doing here specifically is we're doing a pin or / a recess wash. You can use oils for this, but I just find it a lot easier to do it with a GW paint. All you got to do is just be a little bit careful, and then if you do get any on the yellow, you just basically use your finger and rub it off any excess that you don't need, basically. Now this does take a while, because you do have to go over all those areas that look like gems. It does take a very long time to do, and I think that was one of the most time consuming things that I've done on these particular models. I can't say I didn't enjoy it, it's just time consuming, and that's why I didn't really make it into the first part of the video, because it does take a little bit longer to do, unfortunately. But I do think the effect is great. Like I already mentioned, the alternative is you can use oil paint, but I don't know, I just find that it can be a lot of hassle. I do own them, so it's not a case of that I don't have them, and it's just a lot of people tend to use them online anyway. So if you are looking for any online oil paint, sort of guides, there are a lot of people that are already doing it out there. So this was my favourite part, actually. So we are now doing sponge chipping. So we're creating a weathering effect, and here we're using Rhinox hide. So what I tend to do is I've got leftover sponge bits from my gaming cases, and what I do is I just tend to reuse the bits that I have from that and use it on the models, and it creates an amazing effect. I really do like it. So we dip it into Rhinox hide, and then on the kitchen towel we sort of do 3 dabs on the kitchen towel, 3 or 4, and then we slowly then use the sponge to create a random weathering effect. I could have taken it up a notch, seeing as in the new Aeldari book, that they mention the fact that Wraithbone isn't just it's not made in quite the same way as it used to. But I've looked at some artwork in the official book, and they've got this sort of brown, whether it be mud or chipping, it seems to match, so that's what I've gone for. But if I did want to take it a lot further, sorry, I would have used Stormhose Silver once again. I would have used a sponge, and I would have tried to be a bit more precise and a little bit more careful with it, and just did sponging with Stormhose Silver. Now in this particular case, I've already added the grass, the tufts from the GW range, and I'm doing a second variation here as well, adding some flock as well. So I used some PVA, used like an old brush for that, and then put some flock on top. Yeah, just to give a model a bit of variety. So over here now, we are using Reikland Flesh Shade once more, and we are putting that over Rakarth Flesh. So this is the sort of effect that we've got so far. I haven't done the gems yet in this video, so I'll make sure to show you how I do that as well. This is just the process of me putting the tufts on. Once again, simple thing, you can either just attach it just straight on the base, but in my instance I just use some PVA just to make sure it sticks down. So for gems, as they take a while, once again they didn't make it into the first video, but for the second video I'm using corn red as the base for the gem. Now this can take a little while to do, but after we let it dry and after we've done, you know, something like 10 gems, we can go back to the first one and start working on a first gem. Second layer would be Mephiston red for the gems. A third colour that we end up using is called vermilion, and this particular one is from the Vallejo range. And after we've done the red, we go over to orange, and any orange will do at this stage, but I believe I use the hot orange in this case because that's one of the colours that we've already used previously in the first video. So to finish the gems off, what we're going to be doing is just using white. Any white will do, but in my case I use Ulvan Grey because I find it a lot easier to use and I think it's a lot easier to control. So we're literally putting a dot in each upper right corner, I believe. Yeah, you just want to be really gentle with it. You know, get most of the excess paint off your brush and you just gently tap the top of the gem. Here now we're moving on to doing the armor. Here we're using Auric Armor Gold from the GW range. We're literally using that all over our model, covering most of the bits of the Retributor armor that we've used earlier. Now after we do that, we're going to be using Liberator Gold, and this time we're focusing more towards the edges, so you know, the sharper corners, or where you think the light would hit the gold a lot more. That's where we're using that colour. After we've used Liberator Gold, we use Stormhost Silver from the Games Workshop range once again, and we're using that on the sharpest edges of the model. Now this has been an absolute blast of a project, and I just wanted to say thank you for everybody who's been commenting and subscribing on the channel. It really does help out. It does help the channel grow, and I really do appreciate it. I read all the comments, I do reply to all of them. So yeah, I mean, if you are watching it, once again, thank you. So for the future projects, I think what we're going to be working on is some Lizardman / Seraphon stuff. So if that's something that you're into, you definitely want to, you know, stay tuned and keep a lookout on those videos. So yeah, managed to paint that force. All in all, it took a week to do, but I think the progress was good, and I really have enjoyed it. I think it's an amazing army, and I think, you know, if I could do it, then anybody can do it. I mean, the idea behind these videos is basically to give you guys the inspiration to be able to finish your project. I think it's very important to have a painted army on the tabletop. You know, I mean, you'll end up feeling good about it in the end. You know, your opponent gets to look at an amazing army, and you get to give yourself a pat on the back, you know, that you finished the project. And that means you can, you know, either start a new one or perhaps get some more reinforcements for your army, you know, or you know, if playing's not your thing, then you can just add more models to your collection. But once it's done, it's done. I mean, it's out the way, and you get to look back at it, you know, and you can either go, oh, you know, I really like that, I'm really proud of it, or you can go, yes, I like this model, but actually I think I can improve on this and this and this. And I think it's really good to be able, you know, to see the progress that you're making rather than leaving the models grey. So once again, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.
Lost without a trace, whispers of stars fade into the void, silent cries of a world destroyed. Once they danced under twilight skies, now they crumble as time defies. Echoes of glory, now shadows thin, waging fights they can never win. In the ashes of their dreams they stand, grasping at fate with trembling hands. Galaxies mourn their fallen pride, elders lie swallowed by the tide. In the ashes of their dreams they stand, grasping at fate with trembling hands. Galaxies mourn their fallen pride, elders' light swallowed by the tide. Haunted by whispers of what they've done, trapped in shadows, can't outrun. Prophets weep for future lost, wandering realms at endless cost. The sanctuary from the despair, lost children of stars in the open air. Wistful glances at ancient days, their legacy in disarray. Once bold warriors, now ghostly shades, lost within the universe's space. From tattered realms they futilely plead, ancient glory, now empty need.